Hello everyone, this is Bebel Dan and welcome back to another Blender's File episode where I'm going to be taking a trip down memory lane and revisiting some of my old Blender files that I have. If y'all are new to the channel or new to this series, just to kind of give y'all a brief little summary of what this is I found an old hard drive of mine of an old computer and I was able to resurrect it, and on that hard drive was a bunch of old Blender files that most of them I even forgot that I had. So decided to go and kind of look at them and share them all with y'all just to kind of see that, for those of y'all that are thinking that, I'm any good at 3D modeling, well, just kind of show y'all that, well, I had to start from somewhere. So here it is. Now, this particular episode is really going way back in the uh, to almost to the beginning. Let's go ahead and start off with this first. Let me go ahead and lay down a little bit of groundwork. Is this particular uh, series of blenders or blender files we're going to be looking at today? It's actually more than just one. This actually goes back to a project that have started. Oh, back in the early, I mean, in probably well, let's say I actually started this project back in 1992, but in that particular time, it wasn't, it was just all kind of an idea really that I had, and it just kind of stuck with me. And then as I grew older and had access to a computer and access to the internet, and while other people were looking at other things on the internet, I decided to go ahead and start trying to search for means to try to bring some of my ideas to life, which kind of leads to this. One of the first and foremost, I mean, besides being a Star Trek fan, a Star Wars fan, I am a Transformers fan. I have been a fan of the Transformers series ever since I was a little kid back in, early 90s. Now, I was around when they first came out, but I honestly did not get to see the episodes when they first came out. In fact, some of the episodes that I remember, you know what, there's probably a better way for me to do this. One of the first episodes that I actually remember watching wasn't even, on their regular syndication. It was actually on the Bozo show. I don't know if any of y'all ever watched, the Bozo show, but I think it was every Friday they actually would show a Transformers series. It was actually kind of weird that they would be doing that, but that's what they did. And I remember actually seeing, watching Transformers on that. So eventually I was able to see, but they, because it was only, one day out of the week that they actually got to show it, and I wasn't always home to watch the Bozo show. I didn't always get to see, the latest episode of the Transformers. Eventually I did, but I just absolutely loved it. Remember watching the Transformers the movie when it came out in the theater, with my brothers and sisters, and because especially my older brother, he was a big fan. But anyways, you know, because of me, always liking to try to create my own little world, so to say, I ended up actually creating my own little Transformers story. I mean, first it started off, I was creating my own ideas of Transformers, like, well, what if a Transformer was a garbage truck was a Transformer? So I'd create a garbage truck type Transformer, or what if instead of what if it was a motorcycle? So or even the family car. I used to actually go around believing that the family car itself was a transformer as well. So I was coming up with all these ideas and I was coming up with all these stories, and eventually I came up with a story that really kind of stuck with me, and that's the one that I've been working on. Whoops. For I mean, I'd have to probably say, if I had to give a time frame, I mean, maybe since 1992, maybe even a little bit earlier than that, was working on this story, but it never really ever went anywhere, mostly because I didn't actually have the means to be able to do anything about it. I was just, besides drawing comics, which I did draw a couple of comics on it, but uh, one thing with me in comics, and as much as I love comics, as much as I love drawing comics, for some reason I never really could ever stick with doing them. I mean, I would draw them and I would get several pages in, and then I would get, I'd be like, all right, well, I need to take a break from this. So I'd step away and I would never draw the comic book again. I think I've only drawn maybe two full comics in my entire life. One of them was a story that I had for Terminator 3. So, anyways, I started working on this idea, and once I finally got access to a computer and I got access to the internet, I started going online. I started downloading, 3D programs because I figured, well, this would probably be the way that I can get this thing started. Animation is probably just like comic books. If I'm trying to animate the thing, I'm never going to do that. I don't have um, the drive to want to have to draw every single little cell of animation. But 3D, I think I could probably do that because I could just draw, just create a character and then just go in and animate it. And by that time, I actually did a stop motion movie, and that, for some strange reason, I mean, I stuck with it. I mean, I spent 6 months doing the stop motion animation, and it ended up being almost 30 minutes long. So I I don't know why. I mean, just stop motion. So I figured, well, if I could do stop motion, I could do 3D animation. So my first program that I downloaded was a program called Animator, and it, for the most part, I mean, it was okay, but I mean, especially for modeling, it was okay. I think I used it for some other things before, but when it came to me trying to actually animate something, animate a scene, build a scene or something, that's where it really started kind of coming through, or falling through, I mean. So
So,
eventually I found Blender and I've been using it ever since. Now, those of y'all that have been watching these Blender Files episodes before, you do know that, oh, that's why. Now, you do know that the, oops, LZ point two, there we go, no, LZ, that the Dedalius class was actually one of my very first Blender models that I ever made, and that is indeed true. I'm not saying that it isn't, but however, though, my first major project that I ever did in Blender was this particular set of Blender files. I mean, I got Blender. It was very confusing to try to use at first. The interface was nothing like I've ever seen before. It looked a lot more complicated, a lot more cluttered. It wasn't simple. So I created the Dedalius class mostly just to try to kind of learn the in and outs of Blender before I started taking up this project. And after some trial and error, I eventually was able to learn it, as you see, the Dedalius class. So then I started taking on this project. Now, this was probably back in about 2002, 2001 through 2002, by the time I started actually doing it. So that's a pretty good amount of time, 15 years since, between now and then. So my skills have definitely improved. So as I go ahead and bring up a couple of these little models here, I just want y'all just kind of just, please don't laugh at me. Please don't, criticize them too much. Remember, these are 15 years ago. So give me a minute and I'll bring up the first model. All right, everybody, and y'all want to guess who this character is? Yes, this is Cyclonus. He is from the third generation or second generation, third season of Transformers. He was originally Megatron, but then he was transformed by Unicron into Galvatron. And so this was my first attempt at modeling him. Actually, this is more of a version 1.5 because the body and all that stuff is still originally the same. I was able to go in and figure out a lot of on how to really kind of make the model a heck of a lot better, especially in the face. You'll see in just a minute, the faces were hideous and almost scary, really. Once again, I'm pretty sure that if I was to go ahead and do this all again, I would definitely make it a lot better. Now, I didn't use any references for this. This was strictly just me looking at a picture and then going into Blender and building it. And even sometimes I even had to build him, without even using any kind of reference. Now, he is completely skinned because this was all a part of a project that I did. In fact, that's what I called it when I tried to quote unquote advertise it, was the Transformers project. I say advertise it because what I intended to do was almost try to make a kind of a new ongoing fan series for this. And, you know, I went online, I was, trying to, pass the word. I was needing people to kind of help, make it. And oh, that's right, that's what we do there. I was trying to get people to help me make it. And I put that on. Yes, I can. Let's go ahead and fix this. I needed help with people doing, doing voices. I need people helping me with modeling and all this type of stuff. I mean, this was a big undertaking, for a guy like me, just for one person to do. But anyway, so it really didn't go very far, but I managed to get a lot of, or not a lot, I managed to get some stuff done on, let's see, I do this. Well, let me do this. I don't remember how to do this. Yeah, there it goes. Ah, that's why I do it. Eh. Yeah, he was, as you can see, I was toying around with him. He's fully rigged. I was able to fully rig all of the characters, and I created a whole bunch of these characters. And if y'all are interested, I could probably show y'all a lot more. I mean, I got a lot of the Autobots, a lot of the Decepticons, a couple of the original characters that I had created, but he's fully rigged, and I was going through and I was trying to fix a couple of issues, like with this elbow here. As you can see, there's still a couple little issues that need to be fixed. It's not quite, bending to where it should be, but trying to prevent it to where when you do something like that, it's not blocked. I mean, there was connection of the mesh there, what have you, but actually started rigging the mouth to where I can use these little shape keys to cause them to move, to blink. Let's see. Anyways, as I mentioned, I was able to get quite a bit of this project done, and I even did a couple of scenes from the first episode. I was hoping that if I get the first episode out, or at least a good portion of the first episode out, or at least at most a trailer, I there would be people that would be I would get a little more interest into it because I was really wanting to try to, get this done. I mean, this was like my love letter, you might say, to the Transformers, kingdom. Said once again, I'm a fan. I've always been a fan. I'm a bigger fan to the Transformers universe than I am even to Star Trek or Star Wars. Sorry, you big Star Wars, Star Trek fans out there. Yes, even the Michael Bay movies. I'm not a big fan of the newer cartoons. That mostly just those 80 cartoons and Transformers movie. The comic books I didn't read too much. So, yeah, I didn't read those too much, so I didn't really get into those storylines. I think the only other cartoon that I ever saw was Beast Wars, but yeah, the Michael Bay movies, yeah, I'm gonna watch one of those every time they come out, even though I know it's probably going to be terrible and just really just mess up, my memories of my childhood. But what can I say? I'm just a big supporter. Love the first movie, but I actually was able to find some rough clips of the first episode on my hard drive. So I would like to go ahead and show that to you. So this is going to be kind of a Blender's file first that you'll actually get to see one of my 3D movies actually, um, in its, well, not entirely, because so once again, it's only a couple of scenes that I have. So, but let me go ahead and show y'all, bring that up, show y'all that, and see what y'all think.
Ultron. What is it?
I sense something.
What is it that you detect? I suspect that their loyalty is diminishing, my lord.
That may be. But none of them have even a slight amount of courage to face me.
That is so. However, if they all turn against you...
They should remember what happened to the last one who betrayed me. Let them try.
A few will remain loyal to your side. As so would I.
If and when this war is over and victory is ours, you and my loyal warriors will be well rewarded. Until then.
And there you have it. I am sorry for the poor quality of the videos. Once again, when I was doing this, I mean, once again, 15 years ago, so the computer that I had available was very, wasn't very proficient, and I didn't know a lot about, properly setting up codecs and things like that. So I know the resolution is not where it probably should be, and I apologize. I do have all those files available, so I can always go ahead and go in and remaster if I wanted to. Remaster each one of those episodes for, you know, make the quality better and everything. I got all the sound effects and all the voices and stuff like that. And keep in mind that that was also something that I did entirely. All the 3D modeling I did, all the scene building I did, the animations I did, all the voices I did. The only thing that I did not do was the soundtrack. The soundtrack was all completely done by my wife. She loves playing on the keyboard. She's very talented when it comes to stuff like that. So she kind of came up with that. And I said, if y'all are interested and y'all want to see more, I could probably post everything that I have online. It would just be, I think, maybe 3-4 minutes worth of material, maybe a little bit longer, but it's almost like the first few minutes of the first episode, minus the opening scene, which I do have, but it's in pre-visualization. It's not fleshed out. Unfortunately, me saying that, like what you saw would have been what the final product would have looked like, or at least what it would have looked like if I was the only one doing it, which is why I was needing help. So I'm going to go ahead and real quick also pull up another model. I got one more model I want to show y'all, because as y'all saw inside that, it was more than just, this lovely gentleman inside there. He had his sidekick. So let me go ahead and pull up that model. And everybody, here is his sidekick, Cyclonus. I don't remember making it. Okay, now here is one where apparently I did forget to bake in the textures, I guess, and I was actually starting to kind of experiment with using the toon shader, because I've thought that maybe it might make it look a little bit better and hide a little bit of my crimes. But yeah, this here is Cyclonus. I thought I might have baked his textures in, but apparently I didn't. I know those aren't the textures, so I apologize, but y'all saw what he looked like online. Anyways, that's pretty much about it. I was going to go ahead and kind of show y'all these two. Is that if y'all are interested, then I could either I'll probably go ahead and eventually show y'all. What does this do? Right tip. Doesn't do anything. I can show y'all. I mean, I could show y'all more. Said I've created a whole bunch of these, and I was creating them as I were needing them though, but there was, especially with the Decepticons, there was one scene where I needed a whole bunch of them, so I created a whole bunch of them, and as the series progressed, I was going to go through and create more and try to go back and improve on a whole bunch of these, and I was always hoping that I would have more people willing to help and able to help. But once again, I wasn't getting a lot of support from the communities, at least at that time. I don't know if it was just the community thing or if it was a time thing. Maybe just early on in the web there wasn't much. s- I don't know. I really don't know. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed it. So at least that y'all. This is the first time that I ever showed you know anybody outside of my immediate friends and family those scenes that I've been working on and everything. So I hope y'all like it. If y'all want more, let me know. I can either, once again, show y'all either more models here, or I could even probably pull out the whole, like I said, I got a entire, good 4 or 5 minutes maybe, you know, of scenes of the first episode. It was pretty much done. I mean, it had sound effects, it had the music, it had everything inside it, and maybe even probably I could remaster all these things. You never know, and put it online. Just let me know what y'all probably think. Until then, I just want to say thank y'all for watching, and I will see you next time.